guys, it's Cash, and it is day 3 of my quarantine. So what I've been doing is I have dove into the deep depths of my parents' basement to find this treasure and others like it. I've been going through my old clothes and kind of, figuring out if I want to keep things or give them to Goodwill. So that's where I'm at right now. Also, it snowed, so the snow is good enough to make a snowman. So I'm also eventually today going to go out and do that. Today, I wanted to talk about QAnon, and I have been asked my thoughts about QAnon. And what QAnon is a far-right conspiracy theory detailing a supposed plot by a deep state versus President Trump and his supporters. Now, my thoughts on this are, I don't really think it's a conspiracy theory because I remember when I said in 2016 when I was living in Miami, and I could feel a shift in attitude and energy from people who maybe weren't Christian conservative towards people that they thought were Christian conservative. So there was a lot of animosity in the air in 2016 when Trump got elected, and also I feel like gang stalking and things like that really amped up after he was elected. So what QAnon says is that there is a worldwide cabal of Satan-worshiping pedophiles that rule the world. And they say that they control politicians, the media, they control Hollywood, and cover up its very existence. So some reasons why I don't believe that it's a conspiracy is because, let's start with the latest one, Eyes Wide Shut. Eyes Wide Shut is a movie that supposedly exposes that world of this elite society, supposedly. And the director of it, Stanley Kubrick, I believe it was, died shortly after the making of that movie. Everybody knows that politicians, most of them, are corrupt. Everybody knows that Hollywood is essentially evil. And these people do control the media. COVID-19, here we are, mass panic, they control the media, they control the narrative. And then two names come to mind when I hear about this: Weinstein, Epstein. Weinstein has been sentenced 23 years for sexual misconduct on a growing list of women. And then Epstein, who is the child sex trafficking extraordinaire that supposedly killed himself, but with everything that he had going on, not so sure about that. He also owned his own island, Epstein did, and private property in New Mexico. And, Mexico is a place for witchcraft. Mexico is very into witchcraft and satanic worship things. So for him to have a private island, which they're saying a lot of child sacrifice actually took place on, and own property in New Mexico, these people, these QAnon people, they have a pretty large basis to stand on to make the claims that they're making, especially with all the things that are coming to light in this world. So President Trump, is he the leader trying to stop it? He is faith-based. He talks about God in a lot of his speeches. Melania made a speech. They talk about God and keeping this country under God. So does QAnon have a point? Yes, absolutely. There's just a lot of things in this country that make people very uncomfortable, and for good reason. I'll give you a perfect example. My mom, last night, she's reading her Bible. She's in chapter 19 of Genesis. And last night she's wincing and she's, I can't believe that this would be in a holy book. And I'm like, well, what are you reading? And I turn around and she's in Sodom and Gomorrah. So I was like, well, you're in for it. She's like, I'm just going to skip over this whole part. And that's the thing. Like, people just would rather skip over it and pretend that it's not there and pretend that it doesn't exist than, read it, get to know about it, and face it. And that's where a lot of people are in this world. Things make them very uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for them to read about it. It's uncomfortable for them to talk about it, which I totally get. But shying away from it is what has gotten us to this point in society and in the world. So that's my thoughts about that. QAnon, go for it. I think that they have a basis to run off of. So that's what I think about it. Also, I want to talk about Amazon. Now, Amazon is in every state. They have filling centers in all of these states. I came across a video yesterday of employees talking about how the employment works there. And they're saying that a lot of them feel dehumanized. They feel as if they are treated as robots, because they do have actual robots in the filling centers that, take the parcels to each place. And then these people that are working there, they're not allowed to talk to each other. All they want them to do all day is scan, 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 scan. So these people are coming out and saying that they feel like they're just there to be data mined, because that's all they're really doing is scanning. And then they make these goals for these people to hit every day, and they're like far-reaching goals. It's hard for them to reach them, but if the person does reach them, then they make their goal even higher, which is a narcissistic tactic of goalpost moving, moving the goal just along farther. But when I heard about this and when I was listening to these people talk and just how they're being treated, the only thing that comes to my mind is transhumanism. And also data mining, of course. Do you know how many, this is like a dream come true for behavioral scientists and for people trying to get all this collective data, is people working in this warehouse. Do you know how many scientific behavioral experiments or how much data mining is going on without these people's knowledge? Or maybe they do know about it. I would love to go there and work for a week, because I would only last there for a week if everything that these people are saying is true. But I'm going to post that link down below so you guys can check that out. I'm also going to post something about QAnon. And not to mention at Amazon, the gang stalking and the workplace harassment that must be going on there. Whew. You guys know how I feel about it because of my book. But I'm going to leave off with a reading from Psalm chapter 94, verses 16 through 19. Who stands up for me against the wicked? Who takes a stand for me against evildoers? If the Lord had not been my helper, it would soon rest in the silence of death. If I say my foot is slipping, your faithful love will support me, Lord. When I am filled with cares, your comfort brings me joy. So, with that said, that's all I have to say for today. Everybody enjoy wherever you're at in your quarantine, and God bless.